It's that beautiful time of year, one time that only happens 4 times a year. It's the time of the year where we get MMO news from financial reports. But the reason for this is because they tend to actually be fairly helpful to get some kind of information. The first we ever heard of Guild Wars 3, for example, was actually from one of these reports. And we're actually going to talk a little bit about Guild Wars 3. And this is all because outside of these, a lot of companies don't like to talk about shit. But today we have news on NCSoft's cadre of games, including Lineage Classic and Guild Wars 3, not to mention a few new tidbits on a brand new Archeage MMO. No, not Archeage Chronicles. That one we know about. This is a new one, and it may be coming in 2027. We also have information on Chrono Odyssey from Cacao and Stars Reach, which is launching into early access, probably by the time you're watching this video. Guild Wars 2 has been having a bit of a banner year. Back in Q1, Guild Wars 2 saw its best quarter since 2017, and apparently the 7th highest since the game actually launched. I didn't actually do any of the math for that. That's stuff that other people did because I'm kind of lazy. But that's kind of crazy to think that this long into the game's lifespan, we're still having pretty damn good years for Guild Wars, especially because they're not a subscription MMO. They're not a super pay to win MMO. They're actually one of the most fair MMOs out there. And we also didn't have some huge gigantic expansion that crashed all of their records like when End of Dragons launched. But even with that, it is the launch of Lineage Classic that has carried over into a particularly rosy look for NCSoft after a few rough ones. Like some really rough ones. The time that we learned about Guild Wars 3, that was because they were absolutely panicking because they were being raked over the coals by other investors. And I thought it kind of sounded like someone, they wanted people to get fired. And like dangling keys in front of investors, they just said, we have Guild Wars 3. And it worked. No one ever said investors are smart. Guild Wars 3 is the beneficiary of, well, all things NCSoft right now. Reports indicate that another $85 million or so are being funneled into Guild Wars 3 from NCSoft, and it's on track for alpha and beta in 2027. No delays yet. The funding from NCSoft into ArenaNet is apparently needed because ArenaNet themselves are strained. I guess developing an MMO in secret, plus remastering an older MMO a little bit, plus maintaining the bigger MMO that you have in Guild Wars 2 is difficult financially. Imagine that. Who would have thought that making an MMO is expensive? That's crazy. Just crazy talk. The report suggested that Guild Wars is a top 3 MMO franchise in the West, which true, and that they have a player base of 30 million. That 30 million number is impressive, but probably doesn't even remotely mean active because that'd be insane. Just that's their reach. Still impressive as hell though. And that'd be across both their current games and soon their third in the series. They also echoed again that they don't think there will be much cannibalization from Guild Wars 2 or Guild Wars. Time will tell if that's true. I mean, that's the hope whenever you make a sequel MMO. It just hasn't worked out very well in the past for others, like see EverQuest and EverQuest 2. While we wait for Guild Wars 3, NCSoft will be dropping us in Aeon 2's global release, as well as Cinder City, the third-person shooter post-apocalyptic multiplayer open-world RPG, and that's a mouthful, that was once referred to as an MMO. And as I'm recording this, Cinder City is running a test with an NDA from the 14th of August through the 16th. Cinder City has a Steam page up now, so if you're interested, you can go and wishlist it right now. Now, it might be strange hearing that Guild Wars 3 is on track, that you're actually maybe gonna be getting the alpha and beta next year if you're, Cacao. Because you see, Cacao is making many MMOs that may actually be releasing around the same time as Guild Wars 3 for lack of trying, because they've been delayed a lot. Cacao has basically been doing its best Odysseus impression. And just to stretch that metaphor a little bit further, because I'm a nerd, it's kind of like when they released Chrono Odyssey, that was the arrow in Polyphemus's eye, because that pissed off so many people that they had to go and take longer to make that MMO. But just maybe, it's time to get the bow out and lock the doors, because the latest Q2 call from Cacao isn't just reiterating the schedule for Chrono Odyssey and Archeage Chronicles, but also showing some self-reflection and admitting that they've been rather shit with the delays lately and lost public confidence in being able to hit their dates. Archeage Chronicles is still set for Steam Early Access in Q4, and Chrono Odyssey is still coming in 2027. And then there's the big what of it all. There's another one. There's another MMO, another Archeage MMO that's apparently coming in 2027. Archeage S, Strait of Freedom. We really don't know much about it yet. For all we know, this could end up being a pay-to-win mess, but reports are at least that it's a PC MMORPG slated for global release in 2027, saying the following, quote, Archeage S Strait of Freedom aims to build on what fans know and love about Archeage while modernizing the classic series for today's MMORPG player. At the forefront of this vision is project director Kim Kyung-tae, who served as lead game designer and producer of the original Archeage, which launched in Korea in 2013 and in Europe and North America in 2014. This sounds more like an Archeage 2 than Archeage Chronicles. They specifically said that they expect Archeage S to provide a fresh experience while inheriting the essential fun of the Archeage IP. It's honestly a bit of a head scratcher because this would mean in a 1 year period between the end of this year and the end of 2027, we'd be getting 2 Archeage MMOs, or at least pseudo MMOs. We already kind of know that Chronicles may have MMO stuff, and they've been talking up a lot of the stuff like shared areas and boss fights and PvP and housing and stuff like that. But it's also been sold a bit more as an online RPG, as an RPG, an action RPG that's played solo or in small groups of friends. So then adding in another MMORPG in the same IP from the same company within a year period is weird. I don't know. I don't know the tactic here, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see if these are 2 audiences that are distinct enough from each other. In the past, when we've seen stuff like this, it's normally one is an MMO that's on mobile and the other one's not. And I don't think that's what this is, since they're at least saying that it's on PC. In early access MMO news, Stars Reach, the indie sci-fi sandbox MMO from Raph Koster, the legendary MMO creator of Ultima Online and SWG, will be launching into early access for anyone to jump in on Steam on August 18th, 2026. It's an MMO that asks you to go out into the space, destroy, build, grow, and fly your way through the world in a destructible environment with real-time physics and chemical-based interactions with various materials like freezing water or turning it into vapor, and arcade-like combat. I know I'll be jumping in to see some of the updates since I last played because it's been a long time for me when early access launches. It'll be a fresh start with a wiped world and quite a few big updates, though I do caution, like I do with any early access MMO launch, this is not a full game. There's a lot of stuff I'm personally still waiting for them to get to, like adding melee combat and more enemy types and kind of refining their SWG-like missions and nests to be more fleshed out, but there is progress here, and it does feel unique among the MMOs out there. You can wishlist that game as well below if you want to. My name is Richard Flynn, thank you so much for watching these news, and I hope to see you all again soon.